I left Dawn, Lord of Fenom. What's good, everybody? Tune on in. Got a major live stream for you today. Hopefully, Facebook lets me get this live stream over and out before they end my live stream. Facebook is having some technical issues, or else they just effing with my page. I don't know what it is. But like I tell y'all, always follow me on every other platform. So I'm at Money God on Instagram. That's MONEY Y. That's 2 Y's. .God, Money God. Other than that, you can just Google me and you can find my Instagram or my Facebook, so forth and so forth. I'm going to be switching platforms also to something called Fan Stories. Fan Stories, all one word. Give me a few days to get that situated. Massachusetts just did quad 1, so we got to go over quad 1s really quick. I still haven't forgot to go over Virginia triple 1 and Kentucky's triple 5. I just don't know how long the live stream is going to last. Hopefully they don't mess with my live stream and they let me get through with it. If not, I'm going to try my best to redo it another day. So if you hear, get the message across that they're messing with my live stream, they're not letting me post exactly how I want to post, I can't do anything. I'm surprised they let me go live right here. So we'll see how long it lasts. It could be over in 2 minutes. It could be over in 20 minutes. Who knows? So let's try to get over to this quad in Massachusetts. As you take notice, first and foremost, the book 5 theory. I just did a one-on-one yesterday evening. They got books 1 through 5. Told them exactly that new X marks the spot that's in book 5. It's somewhat similar to like a chessboard, so to speak. Now, with that quad 1 in Massachusetts, if you look at that X marks the spot, that new X marks the spot in book 5, similar to like that chessboard theory, then you tell me what that is. If that's X marks the spot, and that's way, way, way past the 33rd, how does it become so flawless with the very next hit? Like quad 1s. Interesting, right? Well, you say that's Massachusetts' second quad. The quad was right before that one was quad 5. I want to have quad 1 work with quad 5. Well, let me tell you like this. Something brought out quad 5. And if I'm not mistaken, that was 1101 that brought out quad 5, right? So doesn't 1101 look just like quad 1 that brought out quad 5? See what I mean? Once you understand that it's a duality, things have double meaning and double usage, you'll say, well, how the hell does 1101 have anything to do with a freaking quad 1? That, my friend, is why I can't be fucked with. That, my friend, is why this is the Da Vinci to lottery. This is the Galileo to lottery. That's why I call it the lottery god. I can't be effed with on any scale. And if people who are in group leader positions ever knew what I'm saying beforehand, they would too agree. God damn, how'd you do that? Damn it, how'd you know that? So then when that being laid out to see what it is, when you look at it in hindsight, you're going to say the thing you invented let you know exactly it had to be this location and that location. Now, with that being said, that X marks the spot that y'all don't get nowhere near of. You won't understand nothing near of it unless you have book 5 to understand the X marks the spot. You will say, well, that X marks the spot, that 33rd draw, the 30th draw, now it's starting to make sense. So with all of this saying, one particular world that I'm working, they're going new car. They're going new deposit on a 5-bedroom house. With $5 in pick 4, that's $25,000. Shout out to Jacob for his $25,000 win off of $5. When you understand it, what's the difference between them and you? A teacher. Somebody that has the insights. Somebody that know all about it. Somebody that invented the all about it. See, it's one thing for people to hate me and discredit me because they don't know nothing about it. So they're only discrediting me based off of them not knowing nothing. When I taught and teach and invented the all about it, Then you get to say, well, I get to critique you off the things you invented, and that's why I discredit you. From what you shown and invented, it wouldn't work. So here's the thing. It absolutely does work, and now they can't discredit me because I've already made it and said it and done it and gave it out. I already gave it to the people who got it. Can't say I made it up on the spot like so many people without a book would say. Oh, you making that up? No. I've been told you 33rd drawback. Oh, you making? I've been told you 30th drawback. So when I'm talking about this new X marks the spot in the back of book 5, book 5 holders already know what I'm saying. They already know this location. So then with that being said, is that not the greatest of all time? If you really put it and impact it, it's impossible the demographics you built to be truthful in lottery. Especially when they're giving you $5,000 per dollar bill that you bet. You got the most expensive knowledge known to man right now at this time. It's nothing coming from NASA that will cost $399, $499 to open a book to read about NASA. Nothing. But to read about this ingredient, this secret, costs $200, $300, $400, $500. This is already Nobel Peace Prize worthy in the format of it's already the most expensive knowledge known to man so far. When you have other books going for $9,000, $7,000 beside a Bible or beside a first edition copy, when you got other books going for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, when they're about regular things, then come holler at me. But again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm just literally trying to tell you the logic behind this situation that's going on that you have no understanding of because you have no books to understand. So you're critiquing me from a non-book perspective. Oh, it can't be because I don't know nothing about it. It ain't true. That's what I'm getting from the masses. Because I don't know nothing about it. It ain't true. Now you see why, damn, I'm glad you kept going. If you stopped in 2019 when they all were clowning you, you wouldn't be this big. You wouldn't be this important to lottery. You wouldn't have had this figured out. Book 5 wouldn't have existed. This new X marks the spot location in y'all book 5 wouldn't have existed if I believed them when I first started, when they were cussing me out, talking about don't nobody really know lottery. He fake. He scamming. He bullshitting you. They couldn't be more wrong in their life. And that's why they chose to run away. They couldn't be more wrong in their life, and they see a success. But let's continue. Now, with that being said, Massachusetts did quad once. Is it a double quad? Well, they did just get done with quad 5. But see, you without a book, you're going to say, well, what? Oh, there you go. You without a book, you're going to say, it's not a double quad. Meaning, yeah, they did do 2 quads, but it's not a double quad. You know why? Because you only got the public information. You're saying if it didn't land within 33 draws, it ain't a double quad. Or if it didn't land within 33 draws, it ain't a double triple. So remember just the basics of logic. If I said my members go way beyond 33 draw, then whatever that X marks the spot is would be like a X amount of draws for that world you're working. Get what I'm saying? So if it happened to be the 40th draw bag, just for theatrical purposes, it's not the 40th draw bag. But if it happened to be the newest X marks the spot, the 40th draw bag, then it has up to 40 draws to be a new world. You get what I'm saying? The world technically starts in public at the 33rd draw back on 33rd draw forward. This is where I teach you publicly for free. But the advanced knowledge, meaning the real deal inside knowledge, they go beyond 33. I'll just tell you that now. And it's beyond 50. I'll tell you that now. So then with that being said, now you see the story of, do you want the Honda, book 1, book 2? Do you want the BMW, book 3, book 4? Or do you want the Rolls Royce, book 5, book 6? But book 6 is not available no longer. Because I cannot keep giving y'all the accurate ingredient to where the next hit lie. like I done on the one-on-one. I can't keep doing that because y'all don't even appreciate the flawless information you can verify. You don't understand. Y'all your own worst enemy. We literally could be on Front Street with it in public, knowing where the next hit is at all times, if only we appreciated the guy that brought it to us like we should have. See, it ain't no, oh, okay, we'll appreciate you now if you show us hit for hit for hit. Show us hit for hit for hit now, we'll appreciate. No, you should have done that from the get-go when the guy was being genuine with you year 1, year 2, year 3. But nah, we don't want to salute him. We don't want to respect him as the one that cracked the code for real. For envious reasons. Not because it didn't make sense, because we want to envy him. So that's why I can't bring out that book 6 method on Front Street, showing you exactly how we know it. So then again, with that being said, it's a blessing to have at least up to book 5, trust me on this, because that's a phenomenon in itself. That's Nobel Peace Prize worthy in itself. But that book 6 was just too, it's destructible. It'll cause havoc on mankind. That thing will cause havoc on mankind. And what I mean by that is just the philosophy. Not each paragraph inside the book. No, just the overall philosophy of what you gain from the book. So again, with that being said, everything happens for a particular reason. So, for what you can understand with Massachusetts, I'll do it this way. If the 33rd drawback says 7922, CVM is 792. How do you play pick 4? Rule 1. You turn that pick 4 into a pick 3. How do you turn pick 4 into a pick 3? You do away with either first the double number, or if it didn't double, the number 4. Because the number 4 means quad. So it's already quad ready when you see the number 4. So, first and foremost, you do away with the double. So if it did 8422, you still do away with the number 2 because it doubled, and keep the 4. So with that being said, first you get away with the double, do away with it, now it becomes a 3-digit number. If it didn't double, you do away with the number 4. So if it was 1479, it'll only be 179. So as you do away with number 4, then the next step would be doing away with the 0, 2, or 5. Because they don't, well, technically 0, 2, or 5 or 3, technically, because the 3 is not a whole number either. So rule number 1 is doing away with the double. Rule number 2 is doing away with the number 4. And then technically you wouldn't have to do away with the 0, 2, or 5 because it's too vast. So it one of them kind of show up in one way, shape, form, or fashion. It's at any point where it's like, any point where it's not like 0, 2, 3, or 5, then it'll be mainly just repeat double numbers. So if the only thing you'll have left would be the number 6, the number 7, the number 8, and the number 9. So then that means that if it didn't 6, 7, 8, or 9, then it probably did a double if the 0, 2, or 5 didn't show up. 0, 2, 3, or 5 didn't show up. So that's why I say don't worry about the 0, 2, or 5 having to do away with either or, because they all represent the same exact ingredient. Double representation, double representation. So here's the instance where, how to break down what I mean by that even more. Let's say you got 6, 1, let's just say 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's just say you got 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, with that 6, 7, 8, 9, that wouldn't be the best example. I'm trying to include the 0, 2, or 5. Let's say you got the 6, 8, 9 and the number 2. So let's call it 6289. You got 6289. If you replace that number 2, that means you didn't get a double and you didn't get a number 4. But you got a 4-digit number that didn't double and it got a number 2 in it. So in rules of engagement, first you do away with the number 4, double, the number that doubled. Second rule, you do away with the number 4. And the third rule of doing away with the 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 5, this is how you would do it. So if you got 6, 2, 8, 9, you'll do away with that number 2 because it's a double representation. So if you had did away with that number 2, you might as well have been saying you have 6889 or 6689. So when you replace that 6289 with the number 2, you take away that number 2, it just becomes 689. That 3-digit number you need. This is why it's in the rules of engagement to do away with that number 2, 0, or 5, like third string. So by the time you say, well, it didn't double and it didn't do a number 4, the only thing left would be to do is get rid of the number 0, 2, 5, or in this instance, the number 3, because it wouldn't be whole. So number 4 is already going to go away with step number 2. So that's just the rules of engagement with pick 4. Now, with that being said, 7922 had already did a double, 33 draws back. So you be getting rid of one of the number 2s. Also, you always do away with the 4th digit. I keep forgetting that. Always do away with the 4th digit first, after you do away with the double. After the double, if it didn't double, you do away with the number 4. If it don't have a number 4, you do away with the 4th digit. Then don't want to forget the rules of engagement. So again, with that being said, you'll be left with 792. 792 is a CVM, center vertical match. Now, you don't understand 792. You don't get it. What would you like to do with that? Hit it with the autocorrection? Take the 3rd digit separated by 5? But that would only show up as a 7 or a 2, because the 3rd digit is a number 2. So then it will be null and void. So then you have to automatically use the 2nd autocorrection. Here's the hiccup. What could 7 and 9 be? Well, you say, well, I don't really understand 7 and 9. That could be, 7, 8, 9. So it could be a 8 representation. So if that 2 gets erased, it will go as 798. Excuse me, y'all. That's 798. Now, with that being said, here we go. Your new 33rd drawback is 798 after already being represented as a CVM. CVM represents a triple in disguise. So 798 is a hottest series that bring out triple. But what triple? All I got is 798. And then I got 792. What triple? So then here's why you're inclined to use a different measurement, because it didn't sum it up for one particular triple that stands out. So if you don't understand 792 and it's already null and void because it's CVM, then you erase it and use the secondary. Now, what is the secondary? 691. That 691 now becomes active. So now when you erase 792, because it means something else in your books. So book holders, don't get it misconstrued when I say you don't know. I'm only talking to a non-book holder. When I say you don't know, or you need this, you need that, it's only to a non-book holder. If you already have books, and you can already open up the book and look for 792 instantly. So then with that being said, it's always about the people that are not in the know. So you will erase it and use 691. Now you don't understand 691, and I ain't talking about you book holders, because you can already figure out what 691 is. So with that being said, now 691 is active. Now you say what? Hit it with the autocorrection. Take the 3rd digit separated by 5. It should be 1 or 6. So put 1 or 6 in your memory bank. You don't know for certain if it should be 1 or 6. Just like you didn't know for certain if it needs to be 7 or 2 from 792. So then you use the 2nd autocorrection, take the 6 and 9, find the missing 3rd digit. That is not missing. So 6 and 9 can be 692 base number and 693 base number. With that being said, that's a base number for a representation of trip 6, and then so forth and so forth. So also that didn't give you a clear indication of the world you're working in. So again, if you knew the next X marks the spot, that was before the 33rd drawback, you will have a clear indication of the world you was in. And then 691 will be the cherry on top. That's at your 33rd drawback. Because you know the 33rd drawback is the twin, if you understand what I mean. If you already concrete factualized the 33rd without books, and you think that's the shit, You should wait and see the next one that's in book 5. That X marks the spot. So again, with that being said, then you move right along to your 32nd because your 31st is shaky. You don't know if it's exactly only the 1 or 6, or you don't know if it's a 7 or 2, but they all are separated by frequency 999. 7 and 2, 6 and 1, frequency 999. So then with that being said, you fall right into your 32nd drawback location, CVM location. CVM is always next to something super important. I wonder why. Because 7152 didn't double. So you do away with the number 4. Number 4 is not present. So then you do away with the 4th digit. Now you're left with 715. Now being left with 715 is an all odd wave. So it is too vast. Since there's so many combinations 715 can morph into, then that doesn't constitute what it should be. So we do a thing called an algorithm or a tic-tac-toe. Now, if you think a tic-tac-toe is a square or it's squared, you are sadly mistaken. Tic-tac-toe is a circle. It's a full circle. If you don't understand that, then I am sorry. Draw a circle on a piece of paper. After you draw that circle on a piece of paper, right above that circle, right on top of the circle, do a tic-tac-toe. Now, when you do that tic-tac-toe in the same length as that circle, guess what you're going to see? That circle line touch nothing but the numbers you add into a tic-tac-toe. That circle don't touch the center number. It touches the left-hand top corner, right-hand top corner, bottom left hand, and back up to the top left. It touches everything on the outer rim. It don't touch the center. So when you fill in your numbers, you're filling in your numbers in a circle. I think when you do the by 2 by 3, it's in a circle. You're going in circular motion. So with that being said, then that would be a 360 degree thing, right? Well, everybody know that a square is 360 degrees. 490 degree angles. 490 degree angles is 360. So don't let the square fool you when you see it as a tic-tac-toe. It's still a full circle. So a full circle is 360 degrees, which is 3 plus 6 equal 9. Tic-tac-toe, 9 squares within 360 degrees. Damn. So that sounds like a lot like 999. 9 squares inside 360, 3 plus 6 is 9. Who told you? Me. That's the whole point. It ain't arrogance when I know where it comes from, where I know truth come from. That ain't arrogance. Then you need to walk around and say Jesus was arrogant. Because if he had to go and verify himself to y'all before you saw him heal the blind, you would have to go and do what? Come on, look, I healed this person right here. All I did was touch their head, and now they're healed. Oh, he arrogant. I ain't listening to nothing he say. He the truth. He's trying to tell you this is what the truth is. He ain't being arrogant. He's telling you this is what the truth is, and you ain't heard nothing but truth from him. So how else would he verify himself but then say it like that? Well, believe it or not, oh well, bye-bye. That's how he's going to talk to you. So then again, you got to have a clear understanding that between the rhetoric that I don't agree with, I hear truth. I don't care if it sounds like arrogance. It's absolutely true. Prove it otherwise then. You couldn't, right? Because it's absolutely true. So when you do your 715 by 2 by 3 of the 30-second drawback, you get trip 1. It was a coincidence. It's a coincidence trip 1 is right next to the 33rd drawback. It's a coincidence that you got 691 in the secondary of the 792. Because the 792 is frequency. It ain't really about the 3-digit number 792. That's why when you turn it into 691, you see what the number's all about. That is hiding. Meaning, 792 was the paper wrapper around the piece of candy. You unwrap that paper wrapper and you get the nucleus of what you was getting at. A piece of candy or a piece of chocolate, whatever the case may be. That's what the 792 means. Because if you understand how that 792 work in that book 3 and that book 4, then you get what I'm talking about. So when I say 792, they already go straight to the frequency page because they already know what I'm talking about. So then that's what I mean by it's just an outer shell. So then again, with that being said, there's trip 1. Now, what do you have to do? Just like pick 3. You got rid of the 4th digit because it didn't double. You're left with 715. You do it by 2 by 3 to 715. You're left with trip 1s. You erase 715 and make trip 1 active. Now your 30-second draw back is trip 1. 30-second draw forward, you got trip 1. Oops, you got quad 1s, not trip 1s. What's the difference? One of them is 500. The other is 5,000. But you just got it with the same metrics. Once you understand that, that's the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, they still paying you $5,000 for $1? They ain't changed it yet? That's because they want to make sure my name don't get around to everybody in the United States. Because as soon as everybody get it, they're going to change the payout. Or $1 in pick 4, it's only going to pay you $2,500 max. That's the max you can never win. Why? Because everybody know how to play the right number now. Once you understand that, then you're going to understand that, damn, I was the reason why. I was single-handedly the reason why. And they know that ain't bragging. They know I'm telling the absolute truth. The person that spent 500, 400, 700, no, I'm telling the absolute truth. I will be the reason why. Because this stuff is pinpoint accurate. Let's continue. So maybe the 30-second draw is just hiding the truth that it ain't really trip 1. But you did get trip 1. I call it trip 1, but it's technically quad 1. When you understand that, then you can do as you please. But I call it trip 1. So while we're playing pick 4, you can rearrange it into quad 1, but I call it pick 1. 31st drawback. 7867 series. Beautiful. It did a double number. So now it's only 786. Now, since I have to do away with the 4th digit anyway, that's perfect timing. So the true ingredient for my 31st drawback really is only 786. Guess what happens? It's a series. You know all about it now, don't you? So what you going to do now? Hit it with the auto correction. Well, when I hit it with the auto correction, I take the 3rd digit separated by 5. Oh my God. There go trip 1 or trip 6. 31 draws forward. So are you now certain what color the world is you're working? Yeah, I see twice that it's number 1s or number 6s. So then with that being said, what do you know? Listening to somebody got you way more accurate than you ever been in life. That became true to so many people, hundreds of people. And I need the world to know it that don't have a book in front of them. They have to know before they close the page down. They have to know before they exhaust off earth. I was the one that did that. But let's go again. So with that being said, the 31st drawback would be flawless. Flawless. Second auto correction, double downs on it. What's the second auto correction? Take the first 2 digits, find the missing 3rd digit. What could 7 and 8 be? 7, 8, 9, which you already got from the 33rd drawback. So that'll be a second indication of it, or an indirect act up. What's the other thing 7 and 8 can be? 7, 8, 6. It is 7, 8, 6. So the autocorrection is working perfectly. So we really are in a trip 1 or trip 6 world for this current draw in Massachusetts. It become that easy. So with that being said, is there anything to second guess me about with those simple terms and simple logic? So then when I say that's old news, you know I'm telling the truth. You heard it for the last quad. You heard it for the last triple. Funny that I didn't go over Massachusetts quad 5. I don't think I did. I think I did a briefing of when I said, well, I didn't go over Massachusetts 5, but if y'all saw the draw that brought it out, I'm flawless. It was 1101. Okay, so you do it with the 4th digit now, don't you? So then you left with 110. So once you take the third digit separated by 5, you're going to get what? Trip 0, trip 5. Oops, excuse me. Quad 0, quad 5. Where? The very next draw. Oh, damn. Oh, you don't believe me? Check the ether of 110. I'll wait. Go ahead. You don't know what the ether is? That when you take that by 2 by 3 that I invented in 2018, it got cussed out by 3,000 people about. Don't nobody know, he don't know. Oh, y'all paying $125 for book 1 for a by 2 by 3 tic-tac-toe grid? Is y'all serious? Yeah, when I got cussed out about it by hundreds and hundreds of people. Yeah, you do that and you add up the horizontal top row with the horizontal bottom row, and then you get the equation of what the ether is for that draw. So when you do your 110 in the by 2 by 3 and you check the ether of that 110, what's in the ether? Somebody says trip 5, right? Wait a minute. Ain't that pick 4? So what did it do? It went from the ether into reality, from the ether into reality. All it did was 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. That's all it did. From second dimension to your third dimension to your fourth dimension back to your second. 2, 3, 4. Sum 9. Do you get it now? Circle, 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 is 9. Tic-tac-toe inside the circle is 9 squares. Second dimension, third dimension, back to the fourth dimension is 9. 9, 9, 9. Behind every draw. What do you do for every draw? A tic-tac-toe. So if a tic-tac-toe is 360 degrees squared, a tic-tac-toe has 9 squares. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 is 9. You said that all along and it kept going over my head. I know. It hurt to know that somebody else is right when you doubted them so much. You doubted me 3 years straight, and it hurts to find out I'm right. I get it. Like Drake said, if I wasn't me, I hate me too. Damn it, you proved something that was supposed to be impossible to us. And we knew it was impossible, but you proved it to us. You do have it locked down. You do have it on point. But let's continue. So then maybe the 30th drawback, X marks the spot, will confuse you. Maybe it won't be a trip 1 or trip 6 world, or excuse me, quad 1 or quad 6 world to match the quad 1 that's in your world of 33 draw. Or book 5's X marks the spot. Oh, you don't understand book 5's X marks the spot? I already went over it, and you don't even know I went over it. Then you'll understand what just happened in this world. It's oh my goodness. Let's continue. Only if everybody knew. And for those that do know and act nonchalant, that speak louder than any dollar bill you gave me. Those that do know I'm telling the truth and you so nonchalant, that speak louder than any dollar bill you gave me. Because it's like, dang, there's no better feeling in the world to know that you ordered something that truly works, but you get to see the person on live stream try to convince the rest of the world that's behind that they need it, and you just sitting there good to go, and you just I ain't telling nobody else about it. Nope. That's what happens with greed. This movie made $1 billion budget. They did $800 million the first weekend, this new movie. By the time the movie get done cycling through theaters, they made $1.5 billion. Y'all heard that before, right? Let's just take a movie like Titanic. They grossed over $1 billion, I would think. So if they only paid the top actor $20 million, like Leonardo DiCaprio, he might have got $20 million then, but they only pay him like $20 million now. But the movies make $1 billion. And everybody else is making light change. 15,000. Oh, you side actor, you get 40,000. Oh, you next to the main actor, okay, you'll get 1 million. Everybody else chump change $15 an hour, $30 an hour. It cost them 20, 40 million to make the movie, 60 million to make the movie, and they profit $1 billion. What's wrong with that? And why are you comparing it to the people that just sit there with the books and just don't tell nobody he right? Because when they made a profit of $1 billion, let's just say Avengers 1, $1 billion. Avengers 2, $1 billion. Avengers 3, $1 billion. But top actors, only 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. Women. So out of that, they might have paid out cast and crew 75 million, 60 million, whatever the case may be. They still made over 1.5 billion off those Avenger movies. They could have hired 100 more people and gave them 70 G's a piece, 50 G's a piece, 40 G's a piece with room to still make a big, big profit. 70 more people per film. So with 70 plus 3 Avengers, that's another 7140. That's another 210 people they could have gave 70,000 a piece to. Easily. You know why they won't? Because they try to keep everybody stagnated. They don't want to be the reason why poverty don't exist because of this movie budget. It has so much room to grow. I'll be goddamn. There's no way Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise can be in $1 billion movie per movie, or let's just take Samuel L. Jackson, $1 billion per movie, and only get 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. When your movies gross $1 billion in sequence. If your movie gross $1 billion that you're in and you're the main character, you should be warranted 100 million a flick. 100 M a flick. Because you're going to do $1 billion on the market. So then with that being said, look how much wealth can be given out to the masses. But they just won't do it. They just won't hire people at the ready to give them luxuries of not having to worry about the light bill, not having to worry about your car note. They won't give another 100 people that when they could just add on another 100. Or they could give them minimum wage prices. The movie gonna do $1 billion, they could hire 2,000 more extras and give them 1,000 a piece. 2,000 a piece per film. So then when you understand that, that's the equivalent of you having it all at your beck and call in a book and you telling nobody else about how to come in on the set and get your money right. How to come in as an extra and get your money right. So then that's what I mean by damn. People ain't wise enough yet and smart enough yet. They only want to select few to be out of the poverty. They don't need everybody out of poverty. Poverty is what make them billions. That movie being only $12.99 to you made them billions. Because if I had $1 billion film and they keep coming out to be $1 billion film, y'all gonna start paying $2,000 a ticket. $1,000 a ticket, $500 a ticket. Why they ain't smart enough and did that yet? Because that ain't where you're still in poverty. You couldn't afford a $300-$400 movie ticket when you should be able to afford a $300-$400 movie ticket. From all the movies from the 90s to the early 2000s, it had room to hire so many more people on that set, and they just wouldn't do it. I'm talking about within a 30-mile radius of that set location. If Madea is getting in Atlanta and they hire only 15 extras, 20 extras, but the movie grossing 800 million, 900 million, come on, man. Y'all could have hired another 2,000 more people and got them out of poverty. But that's the whole point. They're not trying to end it. They have to keep it going so they can keep making billions. That's how poverty works. So, with that being said, it's a shame for you to have books and not do the right thing, like share button, like button. Hey, let everybody in the store know. We got the ins and outs of how lottery really work, and we ain't gonna do nothing to help you about it. Damn. So, with that being said, the 30th drawback would be 8513, correct? I say that to say this. This is super flawless. You wouldn't understand it, but it is super flawless. You do away with the 4th digit because it didn't double, right? So now you're only left with 851, right? So then what's 851 to you? Nothing but 851, right? And I'm talking about to the book non-book holders. 851 is just 851. Base number, maybe, right? So then when you understand that, that's why you need a teacher. So you can say the word in Spanish, but you can't write the word in Spanish. But you can write the word in Spanish, but you can't say the word in Spanish. Well, then in between the situation, you need a teacher, either to write it or to say it. If you tell me, well, if you learn Spanish, you could go to Mexico and be getting $1,000 per dollar bill you bet. $5,000 per dollar bill you bet. You know how quick I open up a goddamn Spanish book? I've been in the library in that Spanish book every day. $1 pays me $5,000 if I learn Spanish. Oh, I heard a new job hiring. If you learn Spanish, you should make $5,000 per dollar that you give them. All you gotta do is say you're Spanish native. No documents needed. Just say you're a Spanish native. They're gonna quiz you on how to speak Spanish. Man, that line will be all the way across the United States. So then when you understand that, you make way or you make room for what you really want about what you're really doing. If it's about lottery, you're going to make a way for it. You're going to make a way to it. And that's true. So then with that being said, there's going to always be an avenue for you to grow into lottery. It's just the way you go about it. You can't just go about it in a nonchalant way or in a half-assed way and think it's going to pay out just greatly. I wouldn't have made it where I made it at if I was going to half-ass it and not act like it was going to pay out greatly. And that's just real. So 851 to you would be a base number. Okay, a base number is a twin to a triple. That's why we call it base number. That's why everything is called a thing, because it's a twin to a triple. Because every draw is a triple in disguise. So what you made from the 33rd, 32nd, 31st, and 30th is the triple in disguise, being disguised as only one triple. That's how it's working. If it's described as only one triple, that's the triple it should be. Okay. So with 851 now, it's already ready. It's a base number. So you can't do the second autocorrection because it's already a base number. Well, you still can. There's still room to do one more base number with the 851, but it wouldn't be necessary because you're already certain the world you're in because of the 32nd and the 31st. So now when you go and do the autocorrection, first autocorrection to 851, you take the third digit separated by 5. It should be trip 1 or trip 6. 30 draws forward, X marks the spot. What do you know? It is trip 1, but quad 1. Quad 1 is trip 1. Can't have one without the other. Perfectly said. So then with that being said, are we popping champagne today? Are we going to let everybody in the news world, CNN and all of them, know that somebody cracked the code with the lottery? Or are we just going to skip by and act like he ain't right again? Like he ain't accurate again? Both of them are truly satisfying to me. And you, when you understand it, because could no person talk to me like that if it ain't true? It'll be 500 comments under that fuck F you, man, who you talk to? Man, no. They know it's true. That's why it's not 500 comments under the dogging me out, because they know I'm telling the truth. They know that's exactly how they're doing. Let's continue. 29th draw back, 0687. Now, number didn't double. Do away with the fourth digit. There is a number 0 already present. So you could do away with the 0 because it's not a whole number. So now you're left with only 687. By being left with only 687, there's another example of series. Again, 687. 31st drawback, 786. If the 31st drawback, 786, 29th drawback, 687, what's going on with these series? With frequency 999, that series, that would be 777. Very important. But let's continue. If we don't keep the 7, do away with the 7, it'll be 068. Ooh, good. Now, Does 068 further help you along with your trip 1 world? No. You wouldn't understand how you would get to trip 1 or the quad 1 from 068. So, since it's an all even wave, you can only get one thing from it: all even numbers. With that being said, you'll start breaking down 068. What does center number represent? Triple for that draw. So you're on the 29th draw back, center number would be 068. That would be the number 6. So the 29th draw back represents the trip 6 as is. Now, with that being said, if you autocorrect that trip 6, you would get trip 1 or trip 6 29 draws forward. That's the shortcut to the shortcut to the shortcut without wanting to do nothing else to it. Now, with that being said, what if you do the second autocorrection? Take the 0 and 6 and find the not missing third digit. What's the not missing third digit? The number 3. So then it would be 063 base number. Okay, so now you got 063 base number. Anyone would like to tell me what's that 063 could spark? Well, from my understanding, if I got my calculations right, that 063 can spark trip 6 to show up in that by 2 by 3. Follow me? So if the 29th draw back second autocorrection gives out trip 6, if the center number represents trip 6, there's a second autocorrection verifying that it's a trip 6 representation at its 29th draw back. With that being said, it's nothing else left to it but to classify this 29th draw as only a trip 6 or trip 1 world. So then would that quadruple double down on what you have already learned so far? Yes. So if it's not trying to represent trip 4s, then why are we searching for the ether for a trip 4? You kind of get what I'm saying? If it's not supposed to be trip 2, why are we searching for the ether for trip 2? Everything that we're looking for needs to be 1 or 6, so it should already come naturally as a 1 or 6. And that's why I say the center number represents trip 6. It would be super easy. So after the last X marks the spot, you roll right into the 28th draw back. Supernova location. Just like the 6th draw back, supernova location. With that being said, anybody like to tell me what 9, 7, 4, and 1 is? Well, it didn't double. So you got to do away with the number 4 now. Where's the number 4? At the third digit. So when you do away with the number 4, aren't you left with 971? Oh, wait. Yes, that is now 971. What do you know? So they dropped the 4 in there to confuse us, thinking that it's 9741. Or let me put it in more direct terms. They need you to think that it's 9,741. So you can think that you don't have a God chance to ever figure out lottery. But the teacher had to clarify and say, stop thinking in that format. Pick 4 is not 9,999. Pick 4 is the same classification as pick 3 with a shadow number. That's all it is. It's still the same 999 digit. It ain't no 9,999. It's the same pick 3 999 digit. That's it. Proof. So when you do away with the number 4, you left with 971. Now hit that mother with auto correction. Why don't you take the third digit separated by 5? It should be either trip 1 or trip 6, 28 draws 4. And yes, it is. What do you know? Your supernova never missed. Again, it didn't miss. If y'all don't take nothing else from me and you so sick and tired of trying to see me be always right, understand my frustration if you're frustrated with it being right. Well, all of book 1, every live stream I did from 2019 to 2020, I was right. If I did 30 live streams, I was right 30 times in 2019 in a row. Maybe he lied, maybe he not. Maybe he lied, I was right 30 times in a row if I did 30 live streams. Then fast forward to 2020. If I did 70 live streams in 2020, or let's just say 40 live streams in 2020, well, god dang, what do you know? He was consistently accurate 40 times in a row. Well, you would think out of 70 goddamn live streams, they got it concrete accurate that this guy know exactly what he knows. Now, funny, it is 2024, and it must be over 200 live streams, and then I don't think he really know. I think he might be faking. So since it ain't even a mystery that I ain't faking, since it ain't a mystery that I do know, where's the onslaught of love at for being right all along? Nope, I ain't gonna just tell him. Y'all tell him. I ain't telling him. That's the whole point. I told y'all years ago, this is the first product that make you envy it absolutely doing what the product said it would do. Well, I'm going to get this hair growth product and put it in my hair. And now my hair growing to my feet. Ooh, y'all, let me tell you about this hair product. Got my hair growing to my feet. Well, I'm going to take this vitamin E that's going to grow my nails out. Ooh, well, my nails grew out exactly where I wanted them to. Let me tell y'all about this nail stuff. See my point? This is the only product that's been invented make people hate that it's right. Because everybody doubted that it worked. So unfair to me. So hold your horses. So if the 28th drawback is supernova location and is flawless for trip 1s, your 29th draw is flawless for 1s, your 30th draw is flawless for 1s, your 31st drawback flawless for 1s, your 32nd drawback flawless for 1s, in your X marks the spot on book 5, way back there, is flawless for 1s. What do you know? That's like 6 locations before we left the 28th drawback that is only telling us 1s or 6s. That's it. Oops, excuse me. One more that said 1s or 5s. That's it. What do you know? They did quad 5s, then they did quad 1s. When you understand what we know for a fact, then you understand my frustration is a fact. He got the ultimate right to be so frustrated with mankind and the way they're treating him because he's truly super flawless. He's super flawless in this. It ain't just regular, it's super. And we just hating on the man for doing it. Let's continue. So the very next important location to those without a book will probably be... well, I can't give you the ratio. Why I can't give you the ratio? Very important. This is why I can't give you the ratio. Because it's right. Because it's flawless. Because the ether says trip 1 at the ratio. Wait a minute. Sum that up again for me. Before you get to the 5th drawback or the 6th drawback, you said the ratio says trip 1. The 28th drawback says trip 1. The 29th drawback says trip 1. The 30th draw says trip 1. The 31st draw says trip 1. The 32nd draw says trip 1. In the X marks the spot in book 5 says quad 1 or quad 6. 7 times quad 1 or quad 6 only. At these locations already stationed before Massachusetts did Massachusetts. This book was invented before quad 5, before quad 1 in Massachusetts. Easily be able to say, goddamn bro, you is super flawless. Damn it, you are right. I pity the fool that still think I'm lying. You's gotta be ignorant, more ignorant than a box of rocks. You think this is real fake frustration? You think every 30 damn sentences I'll get back to how ungrateful you is because I'm faking it. Another sign of me trying to tell you what's in your best interest, even if it's degrading. Let's continue. 6 drawback, supernova location. Well, you don't understand the 6 drawback. And quite frankly, you wouldn't understand the 6 drawback unless you had book 5. Well, you still will understand the 6 drawback if you got book 1. It's still elementary, but super flawless if you got book 5 to tag along with it. Now, with that being said, excuse me, let me let you in on another key insight in case you don't understand this. When I say, well, a book 5 or a book 4 or a book, I mean just insight. I mean just a theory of thinking about it now. It's still the same number 4 there in book 1 that it is the number 4 there in book 5. It's still the same number 0 that's in book 1. That's the same number 0 in book 5. And the same number 8 in book 1. That's the same number 8 in book 5. But it's the same, the different way we approach it now. It's dual meaning now. That's what I mean when I say if you made it to book 5. That's why I say get the bundles while you can. It's the best way to go. All of the books is already there ready for you. Get that bundle. 5 books, $1.99 right now. That is your Easter special. It can't get no better. Matter of fact, an even better position. Book 1 says 7-11. Big bold numbers. First thing we thought was the most important thing to lottery. And it still is the most important thing, but not more important than the book 5 logic. Those big 3-digit numbers in the back of book 5 is not more important than that. But with that being said, if you reverse the 711, backwards is forward, forwards is backwards, you have 117. So for this Easter special, I'll give you a bundle for $117 in the morning. And call it the morning special. $117, I guarantee you, I will make your day. $117 bundle in the morning, I guarantee I'll make your day. We'll be shipping out first thing Monday or Tuesday, whenever the post office opens. And this is just for, this March 31st. Oh yeah, March 31st, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. It's his anniversary tomorrow. So you already know how I feel about tomorrow. I might be kind of down in the dumps. I might be kind of, discombobulated. But at the end of the day, it's a special day. It is the first Sunday that he passed away on this day, Sunday, 5 years ago. So when he passed away, it was March 31st, Sunday. This is the first March 31st Sunday since. So that's why I'm extra emotional tomorrow. Now, with that being said, 6 drawback, 4080. What would you do first? Would you get rid of the double number first? Because it did the double number, 0 and 0. Would you do away with the number 4 because it already represents a quad? So it's null and void. See my point? If you did all of that, the only whole number there would be the number 8. So then it would naturally be represented as quad 8. So if you naturally really only put quad 8 there, then you would say 6 draws back quad 8. And quad 8 brought in quad 1. Excuse me. In other words, a quad showed up and a quad came out. But that's only for the truly confident individuals of what all these digits represent. So what we're going to do is break it back down into a pick 3 format. Always make the number more understandable to you no matter what. Because why? The way you understand it is 80%, not 75, 80% of the battle. You understand it better this way instead of that way. Always go with the way you understand it better. So if I could get a trip trigger out of the number, I'd rather get the trip trigger out of the number instead of leaving it as a other type of number. You understand me? So let's say you know about 401. You got 401. 4011. And then you'll say, well, I got to deal with the double number first. Well, I'm going to give you a better example. Okay, you say you got 4071. 4071. You'll say, I got to get rid of the fourth digit first. Now it's 407, base number. I understand base number is a twin to a triple, but since 7 is a quirky number, if I keep the number 1 and do away with the number 7, I get 401 trip trigger left. I work better with 401 trip trigger than I would with a 407 base number. And that's what I mean. That's why I say put it in the way you understand it better. Because if somebody understands it as 407 better than they do as 401, I prefer you to use 407 before 401. Because in the back of your mind, you already understand 401 represented the triple, but 407 highlights your theory of this is a number 2 or number 7 world that you're working. So in this case, you would remain using 407 instead of 401. That's what I mean by always put it in the way you understand it better, because you'll come out at the end better. And again, this is just good teaching, not trying to get you to teach it only the way that makes me look good. I'm only going to teach you good teaching. If I give you good information, I give you good power. If I give you bad information, I give you bad power. And we ain't giving out no bad power. Point blank, period. So, with that being said, I advise you with this 4080 to get rid of the number 4, because it already represents quad at the 6th draw. By getting rid of this number 4, you're left with 080. By being left with 080, you're saying, hey, I got 080, right? What is this? Run mate double? Yeah. Well, me having this run mate double left should it ignite a triple anytime soon? Heads or tails, could be or could not be. True. It's closer to a triple than not because it's a run mate double. At minimum, to get a triple, you have needed a double. That's why I say that. Now, with that being said, if I can only say this is a run mate double, did it help me? Okay, versus if you kept the number 4 and did away with the fourth digit, the number 0, you'll only be left with 408. Now hold your horses. It's run mate double better than an all even wave, 40 and 8, because that's all you're gonna call it. Now you see my point? It's way better than a 408. This is when your understanding kicks in and take over. Instead of calling it 408, I called it 080. Now, you did good. Because now once you go into other understandings of that number that you're looking at, 080, you're going to say, well, damn, it goes with so much, so well. It's stuff I couldn't tell you about. But just know it goes with so much so well. So would this still be a dominant 6th draw supernova location? Yes. But what if it don't say a dominant supernova location for only quad 1? Then what else would you have to rely on? Think. It don't need to have to say only ones when the world that we for sure know by now, because we had 7 instances of only number 1 or number 6. So then this 080 is the cherry on top to the understanding that we have of 080 compared to what world we're working. So then there's your cherry on top. But call it a run mate double if you don't have a book. Because 0 and 8 are run mates. If you made it to all the books, then you know what I'm talking about. I just can't tell you behind the scenes information. So 6 drawback would be flawless. But that's not enough for you. You don't get it. See, if you don't understand that that's perfect, then you got to remember something had to bring the 6th draw in. What brought the 6th draw in? The 7th draw. So then, with that being said, looks like you got 0, 2, 6, 5. For those who know what I'm saying, look how I didn't even have to say it and you knew what I was saying. Because you made it to book 5. For those who don't know what I'm saying, especially the ones that did do a one-on-one last night and the day before, now you see how purposeful I am when I do the one-on-one. You know, you pay for a 60-minute one-on-one and we talk 120 minutes. You pay for a 60-minute one-on-one and we talk 80 minutes. That's on purpose. Or did you think I was just sitting there going to look at the clock on you? Well, you only paid me for a 60-minute one-on-one. With 1 hour and 1 minute, I'm hanging up the phone. That's what the lawyer would tell you. That's what the judge would tell you. That's what the professional tell you. Well, you only hired me for 1 hour. I'm only going to do 1 hour. So then when you understand that, I purposefully show you that it wasn't about the money. It's about you taking interest in learning more. Once you understand that, then you see the betterment you were left in by choosing to say, I would pay you for 60 minutes of your time. And see how much better it gets you. But let's continue. So then you got 0, 2, 6, 5 at the 7th drawback and you swear it ain't flawless. People without books will swear it ain't flawless. Well, in this case, you got to do away with the number 5, right? You got to do away with the 4th digit. It is. If you do away with the 4th digit, you're left with what? 0, 2, 6, right? Hold your horses. What is 0, 2, 6? All even wave. Okay. Well, then you say, well, it's trip 2. Okay. It is an all even wave. It is a trip 2. Did it help you with trip 1? Not necessarily. So then, let's just say necessarily, it ain't got nothing to do with trip 2. So then necessarily, it ain't got nothing to do with all even wave. So, like you call 080 just a run mate double, ain't had nothing to do with that terminology right now. So then, it ain't about 080 being a run mate double. Like it ain't about 026 being an all even number. It must come with dual representation. And it does. Now you get what you're looking at. That 7th drawback just brought in the supernova. That supernova, if you only understood what I'm talking about in the books of what I'm talking about, it don't get no better than that. Y'all know if you got rid of the 0 and kept 265, what would you call that? I don't know. You know what you call 265? You call 265 quad 5 or quad 1. The exact thing you got. The exact thing you got. How so? Erase the 0. Now put 265. First, take the autocorrection. 3rd digit separated by 5. You're going to get quad 5 or quad 0. Hold your horses. After you got quad 5 or quad 0, check the ether of 265. Once you check the ether of 265, what's in the ether? Trip 1. And you think they gave it to you by accident. So the ones that are blessed to know what you're looking at when you look at 265. Those the blessed that know that, hey, I know what the ether is of 265. Those that blessed to know that I know what the first auto correction is to 265. And to realize I'm playing pick 4, not pick 3. So everything represents a quad, not the triple. And that brought in the 6th draw. Once you know what I'm talking about, you know that ain't no way possible this was supposed to be possible. Ain't no way possible this was supposed to be possible. That's what we're dealing with. Now let's get to the 5th draw back because people want to doubt it. This is for the people without a book. That 7th draw thing and 6th draw thing, and I'll people with the book. People without a book. 9624. Obviously, you do away with the number 4 because it represents quad. But first and foremost, you do away with the 4th digit. So you naturally really are only left with 962 now, aren't you? Stop me when I'm not accurate. Stop me when I lied. So then, if you did a by 2 by 3 to 962, you tell me what you get in return. You see why I'm the way I am? Because I'm right. I'll be the most humblest person you ever seen if I was wrong. I'll be filled with joy and smile if I was wrong. Because I got a wolf ticket to sell you. Hi, we're having a lovely day at Lottery Fenom. Let me tell you all about our specials today. Now, with our specials at Lottery Fenom, we have the bundle of 5 books. That 5-book bundle is going to work wonders for your life. You're summoning now. With that 5-book bundle, you're going to get the lovely royal treatment. That's because I got a wolf ticket to sell. But since I'm all bitter that I'm not getting treated as I'm supposed to, because it's truly right and it's truly flawless, it's still going to be right and flawless whether you bought some or you didn't. So I'm still going to be pissed that I don't get the respect that I get. Because once you do the by 2 by 3 to the 5th draw back, you get trip 6. Now you erase 962 and you put trip 6 there. Now hit it with the auto correction, the only auto correction you can do. That would be to take the 3rd digit. That would be to separate it by 5. That would be quad 1 or quad 6. 5 draws 4. Oops, that's just a $5,000 payout for a dollar bill just because you listened and you learned the right way. So what group leader showed you this before you did anything to them, before you bought anything for them? What group leader had it so crystal clear mapped out for you before the quad even failed? None. I don't know. Play quad 0 through 9. I don't know. Why wouldn't I not know if I know where to look to represent what quad you need to play? See my point? So when I already tell you, I already know what they don't know, and I already know how they're not on this level, that's why they get cussed out so easily. They swear they know. They swear they're on a level that they don't know nothing about. So that's why I cuss them out so easily. You're so damn dumbfounded that you think you know when you really don't know. I know you don't know because you don't have it in a book, because you don't have it for sale. Because if you really did know, that would be the first thing you run to, because you know don't nobody else know. And that's the first thing I ran to, making it a book, because don't nobody else know. Let's continue. So then with that being said, my 5th drawback would be flawless. X marks the spot. So it's already 7 times X marks the spot flawless. Now the 5th drawback makes it 8 times only 1s and 6s showed. In the 4th drawback, 0738. Well, anytime you get a 3 and 8, you're missing the 1. It's kind of like a dead giveaway, sort of, if you really understand when you see 3s and 8s. But let's get back into another situation. So, it didn't double. So, you might want to do away with the last digit. If you do away with the last digit, you get 073 base number. That's very interesting. Because with 073 base number now, you can hit it with the auto correction. First auto correction take the third digit separated by 5. It would be trip 3 or trip 8. You just got rid of the 8. Just to think you need to replace it for the number 8, you just got rid of the 8. So that probably would be too far-fetched to be true, because 1, you just got rid of the 8. 2, this is your first time seeing only 8s or 3s hit the board. So remember, you got 7 locations of 1s and 6s already, 8 locations. You mean to tell me by accident you're going to play only quad 8s or quad 3s? And if you know how 8s and 3s work, then you already know you can't have one without the other. So if you got 8s and 3s, you're just missing the 1, so you got to play them all each. But regardless of the fact, that's just added on specialty. That's nothing special. That's your first indication of 8s and 3s. It's not necessary. So then you do what? Use the second order correction to the 073. Well, 0 and 7 could be 074. Base number. What do you know? Interesting. So base number brought out base number. Perfect. Hold your horses. So since 073 already represents a base number, and it's not giving exact locations that highlights the world you're thinking you're in, the 1s or maybe 6s, what is in the secondary of 073? 774. So if 073 didn't get it, 074 didn't exactly tell you 1s or 6s. Let's try 774, the last option. Okay, 774 would give me trip 7. Perfect. If you had erased 774 and put trip 7 at the 4th drawback, how does trip 7 or quad 7 bring in trip 1 or quad 1? That's going back to book 1. But you wouldn't hit it off the bat just because 7 showed up, right? So hit it with the second order correction of the 774. What could 7 and 4 be? Because it did a double number. When the number is 774, when it doubles, you only use 2 of the numbers. Find the missing third digit. So what's the only thing 7 and 4 could be? 740, base number, which you already had. So that gives you one indication you're on the right path. This is the double down of the accuracy of the autocorrection. And the only other thing 7 and 4 could be is 741. I just heard something that sounds familiar. I thought it was a quad 1 or quad 6 world. I just heard my autocorrection give me 7-4 and then 1. So then that makes that new fourth draw back 7-4 and then 1, which would give me quad 1 or quad 6. But that would be the third instance, so it's not super important. So then with that factor, 073 as the 0738, you got 073. That would be the base number to bring out a triple, or to into a triple, will be the cherry on top of the world you're already working. So you're already working a quad 1 or quad 6 world. 073 would be just the cherry on top. The base number represents the triple. Now, with that being said, anytime you get a 3 and 8, you're missing the 1. Third drawback, 5440, double number, plus a CVM. So, in instance, in other words of DNA construction, this 5440 represent blank, 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 blank. All 4 digits are blank. In another world, it represents 540 because you get rid of the number 4. It doubled. So then that 540 just represents CVM at the third drawback, right next to the X marks the spot. Very important. So then with that being said, technically it's just saying it's quad ready at the 5440 because all of them represent blank. Then some. But let's continue. Then you roll right into 6041 and it just don't get no motherfucking better. There go 6041. How many times I have made an important stand about 6041? How many times it represented another quad that we went over? Once you understand this shit is just on repeat, then you understand that 2 by 3 is just on repeat. You understand that the formation that it sits on, make it only on repeat. So then I let you know that no state or no draw is technically hard at all. They all follow the same rules of engagement. But if you're not tired of a broken record, let me just say it again. The number did not double. Do away with the number 4 since the number didn't double. So since you did away with the number 4, you're left with 601. Anybody want to tell me what 601 is? Trip trigger. Okay, so then it should bring in the triple. And it did. Okay, would anybody like to tell me what is the ether of 601? Trip 1. So it went from trip 1 to the ether, from the ether into active. It went from the ether into active as quad 1. Just like pick 3 do. So if the first autocorrection says take the third digit separated by 5, that is a number 1. It should be trip 1 or trip 6, the next draw. But you'll think, well, the 6 and 1 cancels each other out. So then you go to check the ether. The ether has trip 1. And it went from trip 1 to quad 1. Can't have one without the other. Who told you the same grid for pick 3 was the same grid for pick 4 factually? You ever seen a pick 3 bring in a pick 4 factually? So then you'll get it. Damn, the pick 3 just brought in this pick 4 factually. You know what I mean? Other times they had to go and say, well, the ether brings in the next triple, the next quad. Meaning I said it more than once, right? So then that should be provable that it's true. Since it's provable that I'm truthful, where's the love? Where's the onslaught of love at? You're right, that damn shit's true. You just did it again. You've been told us this stuff. I know. So let's continue. Because you don't believe that this ether talk is true. Virginia did trip 1 on the 24th, I believe. I'm just not getting to it. But for those who are exhausted, let me just be brief. Just like the 601 brought in quad 1s from the ether, why don't you take the 275 that fell right before trip 1s in Virginia? And why don't you tell me what the ether is in Virginia? What do you mean? The draw right before trip 1. Because you breathe and think trip 1 fell randomly because you've been indoctrinated or hit upside the head a million times. Lottery is random. Lottery is random. Lottery is random, goddammit. Lottery is random, goddammit. Lottery is random. Well, lottery must be random. Until somebody come out of the woodwork and say, lottery ain't random. I got the proof. Well, you just made it up today to sound right. Ooh, too bad. I've been said it. Months and months ago. Years and years ago. Well, I still don't want to believe it. See my point? So then, if you take the ether of that 275, tell me why the ether says 1, 1, 1. It went from the trip 1 in the ether to now active, and now the 275 is in the ether, while trip 1 is active. Who always said that? Me. That just would be double proof now. Because Massachusetts just did the same goddamn thing. Oh, they really did. But who said since 2019 the 4 is now whole in pick 4? Me. So when I tell you the 4 is now whole, do away with it, they know I'm just a broken record. I said it 300 times already. And you mean to tell me I'm new here? It ain't 500 people under the comment section thanking you, showing you ultimate love because you told the truth. Where they at? You mean tell me the people that paid you 500, 400, 300, 1,000, where they at? You tell me. I'm asking too. Then you get the point. This is the first product I seen get envied because it is right. Instead of adored or adorned. Because it is right. Because it is lottery. And all our life we've been indoctrinated to think it was motherfucking random. And so somebody showed us an algorithm that proves it is not random. Every website kicks me out of there. Everything on YouTube gets stagnated. No more views on YouTube. We're going to make it to where they can't find it. We're going to make it to where they can't play the video. We're going to keep effing anything up that got your name involved in it. Because we don't want the masses to know you decoded lottery. That's why they called me the Dr. Sebi of lottery. Once you understand that, then you understand what the agenda is. Don't tell nobody else. Don't tell the people. Don't show the people. And if you're just doing anything that an imbecile would do, we'll make you a million followers right now. We'll get you 1 million views per video if you do something foolish, if you wear a dress, if you paint your nails, if you be flamboyant and rainbowish. We'll make you 1 million followers right now. But when you're waking people up and showing them the truth of our rigged system, you got a problem now. And we are not going to make you famous now. And we're not going to put that on the map. Because we got an agenda. And it ain't going with the agenda. It's going opposite of the agenda. Now, maybe I'm just saying this, that the second draw back to Virginia's trip 1 is 275, and it's hidden the ether, which is not seen yet. So when you do the algorithm to 275, you get the ether trip 1 that brought out that trip 1. Everybody, all they did was wish for an algorithm to prove to you lottery works. Prove to them that they can use something that works. They got that. Now look how they treat the person that showed them. But hold your horses. Maybe the 33rd drawback just didn't tell them then. Only the second drawback tells them. I didn't say it was only the second drawback. I didn't champion only the second draw. I championed the 33rd, the 30th, the 29th, the 28th, the 6th draw, the 5th draw, the 4th draw. I didn't only champion the second draw. That just come with understanding. One draw has to bring in the next. So it got to be effective some way. So the 33rd drawback would be 277 CBM again. Just like it was 792 in Massachusetts. You don't find that suspicious? Let's continue. So, if you don't understand 277 because it's CBM, you could turn it into the secondary, now can't you? So when you turn it into the secondary, what do you get? 176. So to use 176, you have to erase 277. Bring 277 into the ether while you're using 176 now. Anybody with books want to tell me what 176 is? Nope, you ain't even got to tell me. You know what 176 is. So did 176 do what 176 supposed to do in literal terms? Yes. Okay, well, how about did the autocorrection do what the autocorrection needed to do in literal terms? What you mean? First autocorrection. Take the third digit separated by 5. That means it should be trip 1 or trip 6. 33 draws for it. What do you know, Virginia? Trip 1's 33 draws for it. Do that mean after the triple? No. To count it as a 33rd draw back, that means that's draw 33rd back from draw number 1. Draw number 1 did not yet hit. It's coming in. That's what drawback means. 33rd drawback, 30th drawback. If you ain't got that down packed by now, it's a box of rocks with your name on it. That's your exact twin to you. Long lost twin, where you been at? This is a box of rocks talking to you. So then when you get the understanding, what is this box of rocks? Mama always told me life was like a box of chocolates. the box of rocks. But you didn't catch the metaphor because you're not in that type of field to see the metaphor. When you understand this, it's no coincidence. They were fucking with your mental then. They only make some hundreds and 300s of 500 millions off the movie while effing with your mental. Being metaphoric, basically. So then with that being said, if you can catch on to it, then you can breed it. If you catch on to it, then you can use it. If you can catch on to it, then you also can make money with it. But if it's gatekeepers, you can't come in to make money off of it. You get to point at the gatekeepers and say they foul. You don't get to make money off of it. You just point at us and tell them, we foul. We the gatekeepers. We ain't letting you in. Then you'll get the point. Poverty will never stop because gatekeepers don't want you out of poverty. It's a business to keep you there. Oh, no, access denied. Loan denied. Your credit score just is not going to wait. Well, what you need the money for is just not thrilling. It's an agenda to keep you there. Let's continue. So the 33rd drawback would be flawless, Virginia. 32nd drawback, 218. I wonder what 218 is. I really don't understand it because I don't have a book. But I really understand we are in a trip 1 or trip 6 world because of the 33rd. So then what the 218 should represent? I don't really understand it. Well, how about the center number represent trip 1 for that draw? Perfect. You said that in book 1. We get that part, dude. Okay, well maybe then 218 didn't help you then. Okay, so then use the secondary to 218. Well, it looks like the secondary is 216. Oh, that's the new trip trigger you gave everybody by the time the end of 2023. So then if you erase 218 and use 216, what did that not just tell you? 30-second drawback trip trigger. But wait a minute. Did I tell you if the 30-second drawback is a CVM location, but don't only use it as a CVM location because it can give you what? Base number or trip trigger, and it'd be just as potent to deliver a, oh shit, triple. But you only said it like 300 times in a row, man. But then you get it. That's the whole thing about why it's a envious standpoint. After the 300th time, you're mad because it's right? Or you should be more thrilled that it's right. You see my point? But let's continue. So then that would be flawless. So to use 216 from the ether, you have to erase 218 and make 216 active. If you take the third digit separated by 5, you'll get trip 1 or trip 6, only alerting you that you really are still in a trip 1 or trip 6 world. But let's continue. VA, trip 1. 31st drawback, 540. Just like 5440 quad 1. It was at the third drawback. This is the third draw forward. I mean, it just only recently happened. I mean, Virginia happened, and then Massachusetts happened. Oh, you're right. Who else told you that whatever state's getting it next is doing similar things to the previous state that just got it? Me? Let's continue. 31st drawback 540. There you go. CVM. Where? Right next to something super important. Bingo. Something right next to the CVM location, 32nd drawback. So you got a CVM at the 33rd and a CVM at the 31st. So you think that the 32nd shouldn't be important? That's why it's so important. That's why it's 218 and 216. Only if you knew. Let's continue. So then with that being said, 31st draw location really not even that super important. But in the meantime, if you was to understand it, then you got to understand that the secondary to 540 would be 449. 449 would be still technically CVM. The only thing you could do, you really still wouldn't understand it in the fashion you need to understand it is. Because we're going to be talking frequency. So let's continue. 540, 5 plus 4 is 9. Frequency 9, frequency 99, and frequency 999. We'll be talking frequency. 30th drawback. What do you know? The 8, the 3, and the 1 showed. What did I say happens when you get all 3 of the numbers to show? For the umpteenth time, when all 3 of the numbers show together, it ignites it to do a triple. But guess where it landed? At an X marks the spot. No coincidence is what it's all about. It ain't just for recognition. It ain't a coincidence. So then, with that being said, hit it with the sauce. Take the third digit separated by 5. It should be trip 1 or trip 6. 30 draws forward. Do you know what 30 draws forward means? That means before the number hits again. You know what 30th drawback means? That means before the number hits again. So if you know it's saying trip 1 or trip 6 before this number here, and you go play trip 1 or trip 6, now you have the car lot saying, I want that car right there. So all I did was put $4 on trip 1s and shit. I'm at the car lot talking about, give me that car right there. I'll go your $1,500 down. And give me $500 on my car insurance. I'm ready to go. That's the whole point. If you just can get over the hill and get the car, you can manage the payments through your regular job. You just never saved up enough to put down on the down deposit. When you understand that, there you go. With the insights of the lottery, that's your key to getting out of poverty. He's only being the beacon for the reasoning you have generational wealth. Not to belittle you or make you just as dumb as a box of rocks. No. He's to get you out of the situation you're in. That's what I'm doing a live stream for. Let's continue. The 30th drawback, flawless. 29th drawback, 492. You don't even understand that. If you had books, you would fully get it. So with that being said, you don't understand it. What do you do? Well, 492. Act up. Where did the 492 act up at? The 492 acted up at the 19th drawback, 249. Why is this important? Because the thing that's a thing is the thing that brings it out. So, with that being said, the 29th drawback is an act up. The act up, by definition, is a twin to a triple. It's like encoded a CVM sort of. So, since it's a twin to a triple, what's at the 30th draw that brought in the 492? Trip 1. Okay, so then what's at the 20th draw that brought in the 19th drawback, 249? Trip 1. I don't think so. That ain't trip 1. That's 597 that brought in 249, right? Okay. Hit it with the autocorrection. 597 autocorrected would take, first autocorrection, take the third digit separated by 5. That would be trip 7 or trip 2. Second autocorrection, take the 5 and 9, find the missing third digit. That would be 592. So erase 597, put 592 from the autocorrection. Now tell me what the ether says. 1, 1, 1. So your ether 111 brought in 249. 831 ether, technically I call it the ether because we did the autocorrection, brought in trip 1. With that being said, even the act up is next to something super important. Just a train of thought. Training your thought. Fast forward to the 28th drawback, 132. With that being said, 132 is a low series. Every time you get to 132, 123, 231, 213, it represents a rare series. This rare series usually give you a low triple. Said this all 2023. Said it before 2023. What triple does it usually give? Either trip 1, trip 2, or trip 3. That's the only need a point of being for the 132 to even show up. Yet again, there you go. But you don't understand it that way. You don't just want to hear me say it 5 times in a row. You don't want to hear me say it 50 times in a row. You want more algorithms and more proof. You don't want the algorithm to keep showing you 50 times in a row. You want me to tell you 50 times, the algorithm to show you 50 times, and you want 50 times of me being wrong. Just as much as I got 50 times of me being right. Because then you're going to say that shit's good. Because you saw something wrong. I keep telling you, that's why you call Michael Jordan the greatest. Because he'll tell you, he missed over 2,000 shots. I can't tell you 2,000 live streams on the missed. I can't tell you 5 live streams on the missed. I can't tell you why I've not been on point. So since there's no flaw in it, you think, oh, he ain't the greatest of all time because he ain't missed. Once you understand what it is to understand, take the discredit out of the conversation. Discredit algorithm don't lie. Math don't lie. Math can't miss. Supernovas can't miss. So that's why it only makes sense of it not missing. Because your math never miss. Let's continue. What happens if you reverse 231? Instead of 132, make it 231. Oh, now you would get it. Well, 231 is still the same series now, isn't it? But the difference is, if you take the third digit separated by 5, you get trip 1 or trip 6, 28 draws forward. Now it works flawlessly with your autocorrection now, don't it? But if you didn't get it, if you use the secondary, then you will be getting what? 536. 635. No. 536 in your secondary. So with 536 in your secondary, you erase 231. Now you take the third autocorrection, take the third digit. Separated by 5, it would be trip 6 or trip 1, 28 draws forward. Just by simply reversing the number. But you never said nothing about you can reverse the number, but I've always said you should reverse the number. It ain't that I always said it. The book says it. If you know it for a certain this way, then you got to know it for certain that way. If you know it this way, you got to know it that way. Now you're fully in sync. Now you fully understand. The 28 draw back would be flawless. Next important draw, 25th drawback, 439 didn't act up. 439 and it acted up at the 18th drawback, 934. Why is that important? Because right next to the 934 at the 18th drawback is the 17th drawback. That 17th drawback has the ether of trip 1. And right next to that 17th drawback is the 16th drawback. And that 16th drawback is 952 base number. When you understand this now, that 18th drawback, that 17th drawback, that 16th drawback had one number in common, the number 9. Now that's, say, 3 times in a row doomed to triple. When you understand that, that is trip 9 3 times in a row. Okay. Why did I just yawn? 1, because I'm tired, exhausted. It's going on 2 hours. 2, because I was talking about 999 in the same breath as the breath I make is 999. What I'm saying there, you know how you get that cartoon image of like the godlike figure, like the snowman type figure, blowing wind in the snow. And the wind is twirling, spiraling. Well, the breath I said 999, and the 9 is the spiral. So when I exhausted or yawned, it's like I called in the yawn as I spoke the breath of the 999. The breath is already doing 999 spirals, and I said 999 spirals, that ignites it to yawn. It's a cause and effect type thing. Nothing that needs to be biblically explained. It doesn't need to be thoroughly explained, but it's just it's like a mantra. But let's continue. With that being said, the next important drawback will probably be, there's the 10th drawback, 106. Somebody else had 601 that brought out quad 1. Let's continue. The next important drawback will probably be, there go 110. Somebody else had 110. Can't say who and what and where. Next drawback will be the 5th drawback. Next draw important to y'all will be the 5th drawback in Virginia, 765. Now, with that being said, frequency, shit. Damn it. Shit, y'all didn't catch on to that. It's a real yawn. You see the tears, right? That's a real yawn. And you know what the last word I said before I just yawned right then and there, not knowing it? What word did I just say before I yawned? Frequency. What was I about to say? Frequency 99. That's why I yawned instantly. Told y'all I'm not kidding y'all. I just got done yawning. So then when you tell the world worldly things and they're not ready for it, don't tell nobody we figured it out. So rewind the tape. I literally got done saying 765 frequency and then yawned. Frequency 999 makes 765 666. Now when you erase 765 and put the 6s, autocorrect the 6s, you get trip 6 or trip 1. How many draws forward? That looks like it'll be 5 draws forward. What do you know? It truly is. So that frequency 999 truly is behind every draw. What do you mean? Well, if you did a 360-degree circle, put a tic-tac-toe on top of that 360-degree circle. 360 degree, 3 plus 6 is 9. Tic-tac-toe is 9 squares. Now, with this thought of consciousness, the second dimension goes into the third dimension. That third dimension goes right back into the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension goes right back into the second dimension. 2, 3, 4 is 999. 2, 3, 4, 9, 9, 9. Once you understand this, then you understand. Excuse me. It is super flawless. With that being said, .765 frequency 999 makes that quad trip 6. It's too easy. It's too easy. You don't believe that? Then check the ether. 765 ether is trip 6. So if the 765's ether is trip 6, 5th draw back. And the draw right before trip 1 ether is trip 1. Don't you understand the second draw back, 4th draw, X marks the spot back is 765? You follow me? The X marks the spot back from the second draw back is the 4th draw back, which would be its 765. Count 4 draws back, including the second draw. That will be 765. X marks the spot. So the 5th draw back trip 6 in the ether is the 5th draw forward from the ether to reality. You jump to 5. How did you get this ether trip 6 of 765? You did a 2 by 3 equal 5. That's how you knew it was ether trip 6 at the 5 draw back. Once you understand this shit is mathematically soundproof, then you understand where the jealousy and hate come from. Envious come from. Let's continue. You don't understand 765. Well, couldn't you use the secondary? Oh, wait a minute. What is the secondary he talking about? Well, when I do 765 in the by 2 by 3, I use the secondary. The secondary says 961. What do you know? What do you know about 961? Thank you. Well, when you open up book 4, you get what I'm saying. When I go to open up book 4, oh, there you go right there. Wait, but I thought one of those type numbers was the reason why you got quad 1s. One of them same type numbers. So one of them same type numbers gave you trip 1, and one of them same type numbers gave you quad 1. That's why they don't even know I'm 5 times right. Whatever the first level of proving it to you was right about, I'm second level deep in that. Whatever the second level would have proved it from the first and the second level to you, I got a third level for you. And if the first, second, and third level don't prove it to you, I got a 4th level for you that proves all 3 of the levels previous. So if 4 layers of proof don't work for you, that's what you call jealousy and envy. It's too right. I tried to warn you. Don't hate me. Don't envy me. Just say it is boring because I know exactly how to win lottery now. It is not boring. Something you've been warned me about since 2020. We just didn't believe you. It seemed like y'all was wrong about a lot. A lot. Let's continue. Well, that looks like the only thing left now is the 4th draw back. The 2, the 3, and the 8. Damn, somebody else just had quad 1s, and they had the 4th draw back of 3 and the 8. Who told you that the state that's getting it next is going to do something similar to the states that just got it before that state? If your state is due, they're dropping similar things as the state that just got done doing it. Damn, you only said that 150 times and we still don't get you. It ain't the teacher. It ain't the books. So if the 2 and 3, the 3 and 8 is present, you're only missing the 1. And this is an X marks the spot. So, for those with books that know what the 2, 3, 8 could bring you, by DNA construction, it is right. For those who don't understand, have to depend on the secondary. What's in the secondary? Well, it looks like 2, 3, 6 is in your secondary. So if you erase 2, 3, 8 and put 2, 3, 6, what happens? Oh my. If I take the autocorrection to the 2, 3, 6, I'll have to take the third digit separated by 5. By taking the third digit, separating it by 5, it should be trip 1 or trip 6, 4 draws forward. Damn it, it is. Just because you've shown us how to use secondary instead of the primary. What's the benefit? The Lottery Corporation made money off of 2, 3, 8 by the people who missed. You're making money off the 2, 3, 6. And there you go, fucking proof. Well, man, like he didn't say that again. He ain't dissing me. Because I believe him. Well, then you're right. I ain't dissing you because you believe me. But I ain't hit the share button. So he kind of is dissing me because I believe him. And I'm the one who didn't hit the share button. He was right all along. So you're not getting it. I'm going to be right either way, whether you hit it or you don't. Because even if you hit the share button, I'm right towards the person that still won't hit the share button. It's called playing chess, not checkers. So then when you understand this, damn if you do, damn if you don't, now ain't it? So which one are you going to sleep better with? Hitting the share button or not hitting the share button? You see what I'm saying? Let's continue. So, if you don't want to understand that the second autocorrection is flawless with the with the autocorrection, then you can use the second autocorrection to the 238. You're bullshit. No, I'm not. What's the second autocorrection to 238? That means take the first two digits, find the not missing third digit, because the two digits show you what the third digit has to be. That's how I invented it. Not to be flawless for Virginia. So if the 2 and 3 tells you the only thing 2 and 3 could be is series 2, 3, 1. So your new number instead of 238 is 231. That would be the number 1 you was looking for that's missing of the 38, verifying that the autocorrection is truly working. So when you replace it with the 231, and then you take the third digit, the only thing left to do is the first autocorrection. Take the third digit, separated by 5. Take that number 1 separated by 5. It should be trip 1 or trip 6, 4 draws forward. Now put $10 on each one and see what happens. You just made $5,000 and pick 3 with $10. That got you out of poverty for that year. If you don't understand that, damn. Mama always said life was like a box of chocolate. Have a seat. Go meet your buddy. My name's Forrest. You couldn't get the lottery down pat. Come sit with me then. I'll tell you a story about all the troubles of my life. That's the whole point. You're going to be full of troubles in your life because you don't know how to get out of poverty when it's hitting you in your face. This is how you get out of it. But let's continue. So, if that ain't flawless, how about the third drawback, 785? Well, I don't know what 785 is. That's the whole point of not knowing what 785 is. So you can use the secondary. So now that I use the secondary, instead of 785, I replace it with 981. Ooh, that sounds like frequency 99. But if I replace it with 981, hit it with the autocorrection. Well, we'll take the third digit separated by 5. It should be trip 1 or trip 6. 3 draws forward. Right, well, the fourth drawback, the fifth drawback, the 6th drawback, the 28th drawback, the 29th drawback, the 30th, the 31st, the 32nd. All the list talking about trip 1s or trip 6. Why do I got an indication that it should be trip 1s or trip 6? Because I know how to play the lottery. Let's continue. With that being said, then you stumble right onto where I started. 275. Don't know what 275 is. Now, isn't that a blessing? I don't know what 275 is. What I could use the secondary. Well, what's the secondary? It looked like secondary would say, oh my goodness, 976. What's 976? I don't know what 976 is. So why don't you hit it with the autocorrection? Well, I take the third digit, which is the number 6, separated by 5. That should be trip 1 or trip 6, the very next draw. But you don't want to believe me. So you could have just took the 275 and checked the ether. What's the ether of 275? 111. So 111 from the ether came into 111 into the reality, which would be technically 234. From the second dimension to the third dimension, from the third dimension to the fourth dimension, back from the fourth dimension to the second dimension. What do you know? Life is all about the number 9. What was my first live stream video when I got grilled and talked about my mouth and talked about my work vest? What is the very first sentence I said? If you know lottery, then you know lottery is all about the number 9. I remember the very first video. I remember exactly where I was. I see it all the time. I see that exact location all the time. I tell the people that grew up with me, that spot right there is where I made the first video to who you see now. How much money I accumulated now. That spot right there is where I sat down and just went live stream. And what do you know? So then when you understand that, damn, your very first live stream video, you said lottery is about the number 9. Well, you was right then, and I'm right now. I was right then, and I'm right now. In between then and now, I ain't never been wrong. That's the whole point of the attitude. I've never been wrong, but you treat me like I was wrong. You see the point of why it's so frustrating? So again, that would be a flawless triple. Really quick, Kentucky. Since we don't got time, I know. We don't need time. 33rd drawback, 050. Excuse me, 030. What you think I'm going to say? Well, if the 33rd drawback is 030, why don't you take the third digit separated by 5? That should be trip 0, trip 5. 33 draws forward, showing you you're in the 0 or 5 world. Goddamn. 33 draws forward, you got trip 5. It's too fucking easy, and you think I'm lying. And you think I'm lying about it. You know it's 33rd drawback compared to what the next draw going to be. Not because we already know, because we're saying for draw number 1, its 33rd drawback is 030. So the third digit separated by 5 would be trip 0, trip 5, 33 draws forward, right where trip 5 is. It ain't a lottery commissioner. It ain't a scientist. It ain't a Neil deGrasse Tyson. It is not a Albert Einstein. It's not a motherfucker breathing that's going to deny it if I already gave it to you before the day. Before the day up. Before the time it did it. You won't deny it. You can't. Especially if I said it 30 times in a row before the day of. So then what that tell you? I was ultimately right. People that don't agree, simply hate on me, envy me, because I'm ultimately right. Something got to change. Either you need to be grilling me into the dirt because I lied, or you need to be saying you was a low-down individual that discredit me because I'm right. Dishonor me only because I'm right. With the thing that you can use to make money with on lottery. It's for you to use. I've never seen a product like this in my life. Envy because it truly is what it's supposed to be. And you're envied for it. But it is what it is. It's just lottery. It's just the most impossible thing on earth. And I just made it possible. Inbox me now to order your book. We're going to do a $117 bundle in the morning for the holidays. So, instead of $199, inbox me, I'll do your bundle. Be PayPal, Cash App ready. Today is March 30th, going into March 31st. All right? Holla back. One love. I am out.